With my keys to the game, Kennesaw State versus Wake Forest. Kennesaw State is winless when opposing the teams that commit less than 60 yards and penalties since 2023 season. So they are 0-9 in this, worst among all non-power conference teams, an average of .477. Kennesaw State's also winless 0-9 when opposing teams commit less than FBS average of 532. So it right now is looking like Kennesaw State will not have a good game against Wake Forest. Wake Forest is favored by 17.5 according to Vegas. Kennesaw State, their key of the game is just to stay in it close until the fourth quarter. If they can do that, they have a fighting chance. I don't see them having a big game. I think Wake Forest is going to win this going out, and they're trying to make a statement that their university is here to stay. Kennesaw State's got a lot of great players. They have a chance to have a good season, but not a great season. I think when it's all said and done, Wake Forest will have a little bit too much for Kennesaw State. Wake Forest is .22 when averaging less than 5 yards per rush since the 2024 season, and tied for ninth worst among power conference teams. This is where Kennesaw State's going to have to do is stop rushing, but Claiborne is going to be one of the hardest ones to do it with. I don't know if Kennesaw State has a player that can keep up with Claiborne. It's going to be really tough for Kennesaw State to have a big game against Wake. Kennesaw State's offense threw for 1,635 passing yards in 12 games last season. That was 8th worst among FBS offenses, whereas Wake Forest's defense only allowed 276 passing yards per game last season, which was 2nd worst among ACC defenses. Kennesaw State's QB threw for 1,603 passing yards in 12 games. That was 6th worst among FBS, and whereas Wake Forest defense allowed 277 yards per game, which was the 7th worst. So right now, Kennesaw's running backs have averaged 2.6 yards from scrimmage per touch. That's 312 yards out of 118 touches on second down since 2023 season, which is worst among all FBS teams. Kennesaw State skill players average just 3.0 yards per reception, which is just 3 yards and 1 catch in the fourth quarter in the 2023 season, which was worst among FBS teams, which at the average is 12.2. Kennesaw State's skill players averaged just 5.5 yards per reception, which is 44 yards, 8 catches in the 2023 season, which is also worst among FBS teams of an average of 12.1. What does this say? Kennesaw State's got a lot to do this year to be a better team, but we will give them their flowers. We will, every year is a new year. We can look at last year's stats and say, wow, they did this, but you know what? You got new players starting, new players coming in. Kennesaw State's going to have a fighting chance, but I just don't think they're going to be enough for Wake Forest. We'll see this coming Friday night. Make sure you go to Clemson Wine Bar. That's right, Clemson Wine Bar in Patrick Square in Clemson. Tell Tiffany that the TGFF gig they sent you, and they will give you a great deal.
Mark Livingston coming to you from Greenville Sports Media. Tonight's video is sponsored by Arden's Burgers. Arden's Burgers definitely has some of the best ribs that you're going to find. So if you're in the Westminster area, please swing by there. Let them know that you did watch a video from Greenville Sports Media. They may have a treat for you, but you will definitely be satisfied when you leave. Tonight I'm going to be talking about the Wofford Terriers as they go to Orangeburg. I think out the MEAC champions, South Carolina State Bulldogs. South Carolina State is looking to show everybody that the Celebration Bowl victory they had last year was not a fluke, and they look to start out that new campaign against Wofford at home. However, Wofford had a good ending to last year. They did end up 5-7 last year, so but they did win 3 of their last 5 games, so they are looking to build off of that. They do have some questions, however, they will be looking to address, especially in the quarterback room. JT Fayard came over from Northwestern State. They have Jaden Whitaker as well as Ethan Drum. All three have different skill sets. Then Coach Watson has not made an announcement yet of who's going to be the starting quarterback, so that's definitely something to watch. Now, they do have Ilshawn Anderson at running back. He's definitely one to keep an eye out on. He was the workhorse last year, and he may be relied upon as they try to figure out this quarterback situation. And also a wide receiver. A guy to watch is going to be Anwan Coleman. He is a freshman coming out of Miami. He was heavily recruited, chose Wofford over teams like Oregon as well as Arkansas. So he's definitely one to watch. He's a speedster, so he can play anywhere, either in the slot or on the outside. So he's definitely going to be one that I'm going to be keeping my eye out on this game. Defensively, they're going to be returning Maximus Pulley, who's in the defensive backfield leader, but they also got C.J. Coombs, who is a Buchanan Award nominee already. He transferred from Tulsa, so he's definitely one that people have their eyes on. That's looking to be a big contributor this year. So keep your eyes out. I think the defensive backfield is going to be really, really good for Wofford, so it'll be tough to throw against. The biggest thing I think is going to be is, getting whichever their quarterback getting into a good rhythm, establishing a good running game, and keep your eyes out for Aaron Smith for South Carolina State. He is being looked at by a lot of pro scouts to be a second-day pick possibly for the NFL draft. So Wofford will have to keep their eyes out and keep a body on him. So that's definitely a matchup that you want to keep your eyes out on. I do think that Wofford is going to be much better this year. I look for them to be in the middle of the pack, possibly in the SoCon this year. Maybe winning about 7 games. However, this one right here, I don't think that they're going to have to be ready for this one. I think they'll be ready. But, South Carolina State, Orangeburg, I've been to that stadium. That stadium was very, very tough. The band gets playing. That crowd gets loud. If you have a young quarterback trying to make a first start, and you relying on a lot of freshmen, I think it's going to be a really, really tough atmosphere for Wofford to play in. So I'm going to definitely think that Wofford does take the L in this one. I think it's going to be closer than expected. I'm going to go with 24-21, a field goal game. But I just think at the end, that running game of South Carolina State is just going to be too much for Wofford, and that home field advantage is going to be tough for them to overcome. I do think Wofford has a much, much better year this year. They're going to keep improving. This is Coach Watson's 3rd year, so this is the year I think that they're going to be looking at as the rebuilding year. First year they only won 2 games. Last year they won 5. So this year I think looking for that improvement. So I think a 7-win season could be something that Wofford can do, and they can get back in the thick of things for the SoCon. In the SoCon race. So keep your eyes out for Wofford this year. I will be doing more videos. I'll be continuing more articles. Please check out my articles on greenvillesportsmedia.com. And please also tune in this Saturday, 11 o'clock, TGFF Game Day will be brought to you from Furman. I will be on there with a lot of my friends. We'll be talking about everything from the SoCon to the ACC to the Big Ten. So definitely keep a lookout for those, okay? So till next week, and I will see you guys next week as I will do my preview for next week's game, okay? Peace out. Have a great evening.
Hey, this is Jay here with the TGFF Game Day brought to you by Clemson Wine Bar. This is the Kennesaw State look. Week 1 presents an interesting challenge for both Wake Forest and Kennesaw State, of course, as both teams have completely new rosters, new coaching staffs, and no games on tape for others to study. So we're going to fly blind in this. So Kennesaw State was just awful last year. Very, very bad. The Owls finished 2-10 with wins over Liberty and FIU by a combined of 4 points. Of their 10 losses, 7 by double digits, including an 11-point loss to FCS Tennessee Martin. They finished the season ranked 129th in scoring offense, 16.5 points per game, and 106 in scoring defense, allowing 31.5 points a game. Despite this, in their first season, they still fired their head coach Brian Bohannon and hired Jacksonville Jaguars running back coach Jerry Mack. Mack was the head coach at North Carolina Central from 2014-2017, and then he was the offensive coordinator at Rice, and from 2017 to 2020. And then he was the Tennessee running back coach until the same time the job at Jacksonville in 2024. So he's got coaching experience, not as maybe as a head coach, but he has been an offensive mind. Maybe this is what Kennesaw State needs. You can't go anywhere but up because they were dead last. So definitely looking for some different things coming from Mac. On the offensive side, this is a complete rebuild for the Owls. Kennesaw State lost most of their O-line, receivers, running backs, and quarterbacks from last year's team. They grabbed Indiana and Georgia Southern transfer quarterback Dexter Williams in the portal. Williams just had 32 of 68 career pass attempts for 9 career games played. The Owls also got some decent replacements on the O-line with Florida transfer Chase Stevens, FAU transfer Cassandra St. Jane, and guard tackle transfer Brandon Best. We don't have any tape to check on these guys, but I would say that they're decent, but they're going up against a team in Wake Forest that's defense is not the greatest in the world either, but they will be more formidable than what Kennesaw State has. Kennesaw State's defense has a little more stability. It returns most of their roster from last season. Again, there wasn't really a whole lot of tape to watch on Matatoli's defenses. He coached with Derek Mason's 3-4 defense at Stanford and Vanderbilt, but it seems almost like every team he's gone to, the 4-2-5 has the response to be popular for the spread offense. So the Owls bring back the two best defensive backs from a season ago in redshirt sophomore Jericho Washington Jr., who had 2 interceptions and 8 passes defended, and redshirt senior Tyler Hollum, 1 interception, 10 passes defended, to go along with a Miami transfer and Isaiah Thomas at safety. This is an experienced group that should serve good for them. So, Kennesaw State has a chance. Their special teams is fairly decent. But like we said, we don't have any major tape on either team. But right now, all we can do is go by with the information that we have. Kennesaw State will get beat by more than 17.5, which right now the betting odds in Vegas for Wake Forest to not only beat by 17.5, but also get the points, which is, I think, 53 right now. So anyway, that's our thoughts on Kennesaw State, and that's our breakdown on that. We want to thank everybody for supporting our TGFF Game Day. Also, we want to thank you to go to Clemson Wine Bar in Patrick Square in Clemson. Go by, see Tiffany and her crew, and tell them that TGF Game Day sent you, and they will take care of you very well. This is Jay for TGFF Game Day. Thank you.
What is good, college football fans? We have made it. It's officially time. And man, oh man, the weekend is loaded. I think there's over 40 hours of college football that you could watch over the next 5 days. It's going to be a beautiful thing. And here for TGFF Game Day, for GreenvilleSportsMedia.com, I am here to give you a quick preview of South Carolina Gamecocks versus Virginia Tech coming up on Sunday, August the 31st. I would be telling you a story if I said I know what's going to happen in this game. We don't know. Nobody knows. That's the beauty of college football, is we do not know. Once the season goes on a little bit, we'll learn more about these teams, and we will know more. But the beauty of college football is anybody could win on any given Saturday. And Virginia Tech, poor Virginia Tech, they are, since 2022, Virginia Tech Hokies are abysmal in one-possession games. Since 2022, they are 1-12 in one-possession games. over the last 2 seasons, they've lost 12 times, 8 of those 12 being by 1 possession. So don't fool yourself into thinking that the Hokies are a pushover. That is far from the case. I fully expect this Gamecock and Hokies game to be a close one, an intriguing one. Virginia Tech plus 14 points, give it to me all day long. It's the first game of the season. Gamecocks traditionally do not open well in those game ones. I mean, we saw them almost lose at home to Old Dominion just last season. It took heroics late into the fourth quarter. I just told you that Virginia Tech plays in a lot of 1 possession games. I mean, in 2 seasons, they've lost 12. So that's half. They're in the game 50% of the time. If you flip those 12 losses to 12 wins, we're all of a sudden talking about a ranked Virginia Tech versus a ranked South Carolina. And South Carolina traditionally does not do well with hype going into the season. We'll see how it plays out. I am absolutely excited about it. I cannot wait to see the quarterback matchup between Kyron Jones and Lenore Sellers. I just talked to Matei Sis of VT Scoop 247 Sports. He gave the entire roster a B grade, pretty much. The roster has talent for Virginia Tech. And so, yes, we'll see drones. We'll see running backs like Hawkins, 5'11", 219. Tyrion Stewart, 5'9", 222. Got some big backs. And South Carolina has new linebackers. That's going to be a very interesting matchup to watch. You've got wide receivers for days for Virginia Tech. Every one of them is 6'2", except for Heath. He's 5'10". And Cameron Selden, he's 6'1". But every other receiver they have is 6'2" or 6'3". Man, talk about length. They've got tight ends. They've got offensive line. South Carolina, though, has Lenore Sellers and hopefully some new receivers. The one thing I'm terrified about is the special teams, and that's funny to say when you're talking about a Beamer team. Hopefully the new kickers can come in and handle business. We need the offensive line to really step up for the Gamecocks. We've got to be able to run the ball. It's huge to be able to say we can have face on in the backfield. Finally approved by the NCAA for that waiver. We'll also see Agustave, Attaway. We'll see 3 or 4 running backs. I'm ready to see what Nick Harbor looks like after skipping track this year. Michael Smith, tight end, looking forward to seeing him. And so with all of that said, that is the preview for the Gamecocks and the Hokies. Should be a fantastic game. Y'all make sure to click on greenvillesportsmedia.com. Hit like, follow, share, subscribe. You can find me on X for TGFF Game Day. I am JD Wyatt, the Southern Fried Gentleman of Southern Fried Sports, and give me the Gamecocks to win a very close game against the Hokies. Be blessed, not stressed, and just be kind to one another.
Hey everybody, this is Jay here with Greenville Sports Media here at Arden's Burger and Grill in Central South Carolina, home of the greatest double-dipped wings you've ever had. That's right, double-dipped wings. And when I tell you, people drive from everywhere to eat here at Arden's Burger and Grill in Central, I am telling you, you could never have a bad experience. The food is just phenomenal. The service is great. I understand wings take 20 to 30 minutes. They're not something that's going to be cooked up in 5 minutes because they take their time. They make sure they're fully cooked. They're large party wings, and they double dip them. They've got so many sauces that you can choose from. Mine, the Corruption, is their number one favorite, but you can get stinging honey garlic, buffalo, you name it, they got it here at Arden's Burger and Grill in Central South Carolina. Also, world famous burgers. And folks, we're not just talking McDonald's ketchup, mustard, and small minus onions. We're talking big, thick burgers. We're talking the Paladin Burger, named after the Furman Paladins. That's right. It's got onion rings. It's got arugula. It's got smoked Gouda cheese. It's got blueberry barbecue sauce, folks. I'm telling you, it is phenomenal. And if you want to change the smoked Gouda to Swiss or American, you can do that. But folks, get down here. Try everything. They've got the tiger fries, which has got pulled pork on French fries and coleslaw, and you name it, it's on it. It is beautiful. It is yummy. People, if you are tailgating, come to Arden's Burger and Grill. Make sure you get here by Wednesday to put your order in for Saturday. That's right. They need you here by Wednesday because their wings are shipped on Thursday. Make sure you get here on Wednesday. Do your orders for your tailgates. You will not be disappointed. So Clemson fans, Furman fans, Southern Wesleyan, you name it, if you're in this area or even if you're not in this area, make sure you go down to Arden's Burger and Grill in Central South Carolina. Also, don't forget about Beef and Rib in Westminster, South Carolina. Angie has went down there and has turned that place into a great place to go get meat and three. I'm talking country fried steak, chicken livers, catfish, flounder, you name it. Angie has it, and she will make sure you go away with a full stomach. So, folks, Arden's Burger and Grill in Central South Carolina, Beef and Rib in Westminster, South Carolina. You will not be disappointed. The best food you ever put in your mouth. This is Jay here. Make sure you tell them that Greenville Sports Media sent you, and you will get a special deal at each place. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. This is Chris Miller from the Coach's Box Call Like We See It podcast, as we will be representing the SEC and doing our week one preview of matchups this week for Thank God for Football Game Day. We want to thank Hyundai of Anderson on 28 Bypass for sponsoring this segment. If you're looking for a great car at a great price, you need to check out Hyundai of Anderson and then use the code that we put down here on the screen at HOA24 and you'll get a great deal. So let's jump right on into the matchups. There's a lot of matchups in the SEC this week. There's some really duds like Mizzou playing Central Arkansas. Boo, who cares? Not a big deal. Some blowouts, but there are three particular matchups that we want to preview this week, and we're going to tell you why. We have number 9 LSU. They are at Clemson, who's the number 4. That's a top 10 matchup. It's on Saturday, and it's a big time deal because it's also a rematch of the 2019 national championship game where LSU kicked the crap out of Clemson. Both teams, they have some new look offenses, so it's going to be very interesting to see. Plus, they have the SEC against the ACC, and Clemson has something to prove. A lot of people are picking them to do really well this year, so there are definite playoff quality implications going on. It's going to be very interesting to see. I think the player to watch, I believe, I'm going to make a big, I don't know if it's a shocking thing, but I'm going to say that Barrett Carter from Clemson, I believe that he is the guy you need to watch to see if he's going to be disruptive against this high-powered LSU offense. Our second matchup is number 8 Alabama at Florida State, and you're thinking, why? Florida State is coming off of a abysmal 2-10 season. They looked like crap last year, especially 2 years ago, getting the college football playoff snub, thinking they should have been playing for a national championship. Last year, they did absolutely nothing. So it's kind of like, let's see what they can do. Do you think that they're going to step up and bounce back? So again, SEC, ACC kind of matchup. Who's the better team? This, that, or whatever. Alabama is still trying to prove under Kalen DeBoer that they are a national powerhouse. It's kind of fallen off after Nick Saban era. Not too much, but they are not Nick Saban. It's not a Nick Saban Alabama team. So again, they're trying to prove something here. And again, just like most of these matchups, especially if Alabama would happen to lose, major playoff implications down the line, especially as tough as the SEC is going to be. The player to watch, I believe, in this game is Justice Haynes, the running back from Alabama. He is going to carry the load for the new look offense. And if they can establish the run, it's going to take a lot of pressure off of their inexperienced quarterback position. And finally, and I think this goes without saying, that the matchup to watch in the SEC, even though it's like, well, they're kind of new to the SEC, is number 1 Texas at number 3 Ohio State. Top 10 matchup. Texas, welcome to the SEC. What's the first game you get? You don't go and play, the Texas State community college team. No, you're going to go and play at Ohio State. I mean, Ohio State is ranked lower, and they are favored in this matchup. Big Saturday matchup. Uh, huge. A lot of implications here. Ohio State trying to prove, because they are the defending national champions. Boo, don't even like them. But they're trying to prove that they are going to have a dynasty here. They have one of the top wide receiving cores in the country. They can make me look good as a quarterback back there. So they're going to be a load there. The thing to watch in this game, obviously, and I think everybody is going to be watching, Arch Manning. A lot of pedigree here, a lot of genetics in play. Is he going to be the next in line in a long line of successful Mannings? Or is he just going to be a complete dud? So, again, a big matchup to watch in the SEC. It doesn't really feel like it, but it is. And he's the guy that I have picked that you need to watch. He's the player to watch. He has to prove himself as a starter. And hey, welcome to the league, buddy. This is your way of showing that you belong here. Honorable mention games. You have Virginia Tech, South Carolina. It's a neutral site game. South Carolina, number 13 in the country. Again, big test for them. And another honorable mention, Auburn at Baylor, because hey, if Baylor beats Auburn, Auburn's season goes down in the toilet again. So just want to throw those out there. This is Chris Miller from the Coach's Box Call Like We See It podcast. Thank you guys for being a part of this. And we just love being a part of, thank God for football game day. So tune in. Hope you enjoy it. And we'll see you all next week.
Thank God for football. It's week 1, and I'm Cuthbert from SSN Army, here to talk to you about the American Conference. We got a lot to go through. I'm going to be talking really, really fast. I'm sorry, I got to speed run this. There's so much to talk about, and I'm just so pumped that football is finally back. So the storylines in the American Conference this year, number one, first and foremost, new coaches. We have 5 teams with brand new coaches who are coaching their first games this weekend. Of those teams, they were all mostly, I hate to say it, but bottom feeders from the 2024 season. They all needed changes, and they got some really, really good coaches. I think we're looking at some teams who may have hired a coach who in the next 2 to 3 years could really start to get that program up, potentially into the American Conference Championship. The best hire, without a doubt, the Charlotte 49ers. They hired Tim Albin. He won the MAC championship with the Ohio Bobcats in 2024. Tim spent 4 years at Ohio. His first year, he was getting his feet under him. His last 3 years, he ended up going 30-10. He went 1-1 in conference championships, took the Bobcats to 3 bowl games, won all 3 of them. I think he is, without a doubt, the best new hire in the American Conference. Now, the number 2 best hire, in my opinion, is the Temple Owls. So they got KJ Keeler. He's coming from Sam Houston State. Now, this is a coach who has had success at just about every single level of college football. He has won national championships at the Division III level. He has won conference championships at the FCS level. He was the head coach at Sam Houston State as they transitioned from FCS into FBS. I think he's a really good hire and a really steady hand for a program that's in a major market in Philadelphia and has really just been sinking deeper and deeper each year. So hats off to Temple. I think that's a really smart move. The third best hire, I'm going to rank it, it's Trey Lamb going to Tulsa. Now, Tulsa is another one of these programs who's just been struggling for years. They need to kickstart this program. They need to do something. They hired Trey Lamb. He's hella young. He's younger than your boy right here. But he had 2 conference championships with Gardner-Webb out of North Carolina in the FCS. He spent 1 year at ETSU last year. That's Eastern Tennessee State University. He inherited a team at ETSU that had had back-to-back 3-win seasons. He comes in. He immediately gets them to 7 wins. He is rising fast. He had a fantastic interview this past offseason with the group of 5 guys. I absolutely recommend you look it up. Based on that interview and the things that he said, he seems to have a fantastic understanding of this program and this school. Tulsa is the smallest FBS football school in the entire country. It's a very, very niche school, all right? It's a private school. It's in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The donors, by and large, a lot of them have deep pockets because of oil money and other things like that. He seems to have a very good understanding of that, and the decisions that he's making and the direction that he's taking the team, it seems to be a really good one. We'll see how it goes if he can deliver that on the field. At number 4, I've got FAU. They brought in Zach Kittley. He is the former offensive coordinator and QB coach at Texas Tech. I think what we're going to see here is going to be a lot like North Texas 2024 2.0. You're going to see this is going to be like Lane Kiffin when he was coaching at FAU. It's going to be big passes, big plays, big offense. I don't think there's probably going to be a lot of defense, so it's going to be really flashy. It's probably going to be fantastic to watch. But we'll see if he's able to build a team as wholly and as complete a program as would be needed. And then last but not least, we have Rice. Now, Rice is a team, it's a program that is just sinking deeper and deeper, and they made a little bit of a risky hire. So they went with Scott Abel, or Abel, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. He's been coaching at Davidson at the FCS level. Davidson, by no means a world beater in the FBS, but what he is bringing is the experience and essentially the ethos of a head coach. So this is exactly what I think Rice needs. It needs some stability. It needs some time to get its fundamentals, to get itself in order, to get its legs underneath it so that it can begin to stand, so that hopefully they can begin to tread water. So I don't think that this is a flashy hire that's going to get them to the AC Championship in 18 months, but I think it's a good hire. So that's 5 brand new head coaches. I think it's going to be big this year. It's going to be big. Well, it's Thursday night. We're already about 2.5 games into the season. First and foremost, the USF Bulls absolutely smoked Boise State 34-7 at Ray J this evening. Is USF better than advertised? Probably. Is Boise State a little overvalued and probably not quite as good as all the prognosticators said? Yes. But what do we really take out of this game? Well, number one, I think if Bynum Brown is healthy, he is dangerous. Now, this is not news to anyone, but I think it just shows this evening what he specifically was able to do, that people talk about USF as though it's a sleeping giant. I have very famously said I think that they're going to fan out and burn out before the end of the season because that's usually their trajectory. I'm still going to stand by that for now, but this was a very, very impressive victory over the Boise State Broncos. Next, we have East Carolina. They lost a nail-biter to NC State 24-17. This is a rematch of the 2024 Military Bowl. ECU won that game at the end of last season. They really struggled to put it together tonight. They did end up coming back at the end. They only lost by 7. I'm frankly surprised. Blake Harrell, who took over in the middle of the season last year, prior to tonight, he was 5-1 as the head coach. They were returning Caton Hauser, their quarterback, their number 2 and number 3 running backs, as well as the wide receiving, the Smith duo, not brothers, just happen to be the same name, the gruesome twosome of the Smiths. They were 2 of the highest receivers last year. They came back as well. I was expecting a much more high-powered offense, and honestly, in the first half, they didn't even know how to find a first down. So they were able to come back a little bit in the end. Is this an indication that maybe ECU has been overvalued for the season? I don't know. But they lose a tough one to NC State. And as we go to press right now, as I'm recording this, Trent Dilfer and the University of Alabama Birmingham are losing to Alabama State 28-23. I've said it a bunch of times that I think this is the last year for Trent Dilfer. This might be the last night for Trent Dilfer, to be perfectly frank. We'll see how it goes. There's plenty of time in the game for them to come back, but this is not a good look. Now, let's speed run through some predictions for this week. We got Tarleton State coming to Army. Tarleton State, very, very good FCS team. Right now, they're top ranked. They are top 10. They beat Portland State 56-0. Army defense, not rebuilding, reloading. Army offensive line, not rebuilding, reloading. We lost Bryson Daly. We lost Kanye Udo. We lost Matt Drinkle, who went to Central Michigan to be the head coach. He was the offensive line coach who helped us get to the Joe Moore Award last year. Know the name Hayden Reed. Hayden Reed, the rising first E running back. He's taking the place of Kanye Udo. He's been putting up 100-yard games since he was a sophomore. Learn his name this year. He is going to have a great game tomorrow. Army is going to win. It's going to be closer than it should be, but trust me, Army is going to win. Also, tomorrow night, the upset of the week. Appalachian State is going into Charlotte, and they are going to lose to the Charlotte 49ers. As I said before, Tim Albin, he got hired from Ohio. He's a fantastic coach. Charlotte has a rabid fan base. They had 6 home games last year. 4 of those games were above 100% capacity. Now the hated rivals of Appalachian State are coming in. The stadium is going to be bumping. There's going to be people. There's going to be pageantry. I think Charlotte shocks the world tomorrow and beats Appalachian State. Moving on, we got Florida Atlantic. They're going to go to Maryland. Florida Atlantic, as we mentioned, they got the new head coach, Zach Kittley. I think there's going to be a lot of big plays. I think there might be some big scores, but Maryland, unfortunately, is going to roll. They're going to be just a little bit bigger, a little bit more seasoned, and a little more ready to roll. And then we've got Northwestern coming down to Tulane. Tulane, they lost Darian Mensah. They lost Mekhi Hughes, right? But they kept John Summerall, maybe the most important piece of the puzzle. He is returning at head coach. He looks to be reloading with the transfer of Jake Retzlaff from BYU. Now, he was a very late addition. So Tulane, great quarterback, transfers in, but he's been there less than a month. So it might take him a little while to get his feet under him and get accustomed to the new system. But I see Tulane beating Northwestern. The Keydets from VMI with Mo the Kangaroo, they're going to go to Annapolis. Unfortunately, they're going to get dog walked by Navy. I do have a soft spot in my heart for the Virginia Military Institute. Football is not their forte, and Navy is looking to be the real deal this year. Temple is going to UMass, as they say in Game of Thrones, when the decrepit meets the non-existent. However, Temple does have that nice new head coach I talked about earlier, Mr. Keeler. I do think that Temple is going to be beating UMass this week. Chattanooga goes to Memphis. Right, Memphis, they basically lost all their starters. They've fully reloaded through the transfer portal. They've got a quarterback from Nevada, a wide receiver from Nevada, a wide receiver from Louisville, a running back from MTSU. Memphis, UT Chattanooga, I'm sorry, guys, ain't going to happen. Memphis is going to roll. UTSA going to Texas A&M. Big expectations for UTSA this year. Big expectations. Jeff Traylor, he's returning fourth-year quarterback Owen McCowan, his top rusher, Robert Henry. However, they are going to have 11 new starters on defense. So, how do you do a prediction for a team where the entire defense is brand new players, brand new starters? I do not think that UTSA is going to be Appalachian State 2.0 and knock off Texas A&M in College Station early in the season. I think Texas A&M underperforms, but still walks away with the victory. We've got Rice going to Louisiana, even with the new coach, Mr. Abel, coming out of Davidson. The Ragin' Cajuns are going to be too much, and Rice is going to go home with the L. Last but not least, Abilene Christian going to Tulsa. Trey Lamb, brand new head coach. Lamb, he understands the school. He understands the market, the donors, the program. He knows what they need to do. Abilene Christian, it's an FCS team. I think Tulsa gets the W. That's everything. I'm Cuthbert, SSN Army. Go Army, beat Navy. So fast, I completely forgot to mention our sponsors and say thank you to the Clemson Wine Bar on Thomas Green Boulevard. They got charcuterie. They got happy hour. They can do events. Thank you so much. And if you're a fan of Thank God for Football, please find yourself in Clemson, South Carolina. Find the Clemson Wine Bar. Have yourself a good time.
TGFF, thank God for football. Game day. 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 You have tuned in to another episode of Thank God for Football, brought to you by the Fanboys, powered by Greenville Sports Media.